Alright, I just got done with my FIA races for the evening and it went pretty okay, nothing eventful. So I thought I'd jump back to round 6, which was last weekend, as that was a bit more exciting race and it also gives me a chance to talk about race strategy. Um, I may not be the fastest guy on the track, but I do love when a good strategy comes together. So I thought I'd show you what I did for that race. And I basically went with a no-stop strategy as my qualifying round was not the best, to say the least. So let's jump into this race. So just to get the mindset I was in for this race, my past few races were terrible, the qualifier was terrible, and considering I was starting in the back, I was actually considering quitting altogether and giving up on this race, but I thought I'll just do it for the practice, and if I do well, I do well. Worst case, I get some extra practice time, and I just decided to try a no-stop strategy that we had tested in lobbies earlier. So the goal was to basically make the fuel last the entire race, and to do that I kept it in fuel mixture 1. I tried in lobbies a couple of runs where I did mixture 2 and mixture 3. I found that actually just keeping it in mixture 1 and then short shifting right at the start of the red line works best for this car. It also worked for a couple of other cars. We tried it with the Jaguar and I believe the Mercedes, and it seemed to work better that way. It was faster in general, and so you see I'm just tucking into the slipstream and trying to just find a driver that is semi-consistent, which is kind of hard when you're in driver rating B, even though it is SRS. I just find that the S-rated drivers in that bracket are just sneakier about how they punt you off, and they abuse the system to just tap you in the back and then drop a couple of wheels off to give you a penalty. So you can see at this point in the race I'm pretty much in the very back still, trying to keep out of the big blob of cars ahead of me. They are clearly not doing the same strategy, looking at their acceleration out of the turns and so on, and they're wasting both fuel and tires with their fighting. My race is really not with them. They're planning to pit, I am not, so I will pass them eventually on lap 5, I believe, just by doing my strategy and sticking to it. I just need to stay clean, stay out of trouble, and make sure I carry speed, don't get held up by the others. Some of these drivers are going off track and spinning out, crashing into each other, and that is what's going to slow me down in the long run. Even if they are doing a pit strategy, if they're driving slower than I am on my no-stop strategy, that's gonna ruin my race, or at least worsen the result. I was in a bit happy-go-lucky mood in this race, so I didn't really care that much. I just wanted to see if it would actually work in the live race as it did in the lobbies. In the lobbies we were, I think, 5 or 6 people, so it's a bit easier to be consistent then. So you can see there's penalties, there's crashes, there's punting, there's, well, chaos basically. So I'm hoping that this bracket will be temporary. My goal is to make it to driver rating A. That seems a bit far right now, but with the help of my my racing buddies in CNF, I'm getting there slowly but surely. I know driver rating B can be really tough to get out of. If you're stuck in that rating, don't give up, because even the A drivers that drop down there because of some bad races, they say that it's hard to get out of that bracket, mostly because of how fierce the competition is. It's life or death in these races, and I don't really see why people are fighting for 15th place or 14th place. You shouldn't really care about that. If someone is faster, let them by. Use their slipstream to pull you past the other guys. If you're interested in learning more detailed on how to do this, I am in no way perfect at fuel saving. There are a lot of people that are better at it. I mostly learned it from other streamers, so Tijani and the Key 25 are really good at it, and I think TRL Lightning is the best at it. I'm not sure he streams as much as the others, so the first two are your best bet if you want to see how they do a race. They usually stream practice lobbies, so that is where you can pick up a lot of tips on how to best do a fuel save strategy, or when you should do a fuel save strategy. For this race, it was pretty much the fastest way to do it. Oftentimes it is slightly slower to do a no stop, but there could be reasons that you would want to do it anyway, traffic being one of the issues. This race is now where I've talked over the boring part, and we're just on finishing lap 3. We're closing the finish of lap 3. It's really at lap 5 that this picks up and gets exciting. If you want to stick around and see the rest of the lap, that is the part that I recommend watching. It's the most entertaining and most fun. This first bit is basically just me sticking to my strategy and trying not to mess up in the back. If you like my content so far, please feel free to hit that subscribe button at the bottom and hit the thumbs up if you like this video. Hit the thumbs down if you hated it. Leave a comment. Have you tried fuel saving, no stop strategies? What car did you use? How did it work out for you? And as always, take care and remember to always have fun racing.